Hi guys, hi everyone. Good day. I'm laughing because you guys are having like a raw version of me. I've been traveling for almost 2 weeks in my car. I've got a four-wheel drive with a setup in it with a bed at the back. I've got my like it's my second house. I call it my house on wheels. And I end up my trip in the camp where you saw me last time, with this little structure. And yeah, it's funny how life is it's guiding you through places. So today I want to talk about, I'm still reflecting on it. I'm still landing from those 2 weeks that have been quite amazing. And I'm going back into landing back into society, and I'm recording this via Saturday morning, and I'm going back to work on Monday. And it's interesting how I was literally in nature, full nature, outback of New South Wales for 9 days with barely any network, barely any people, lots of birds, a lot of dead quiet nights. And slowly I went back on the coast. I went back to see friends. I got back onto the network. It was actually my birthday on Wednesday, and it took me a few days to go through all the good wishes that I received from everywhere around the world, which was really beautiful. But even that, it took me a bit to just get back. And it's easy to see how, like, it's easy to fall back into social media and stuff like that. And I really wanted to take my time, and I had plans, and but life really has making me. It just I had planned to like how the second week would go, and it just didn't really go as planned, as those 2 weeks were already. So it started with what I want to talk about today is that the difference between where that's the plan, but let's see where that takes us. The difference between holidays and traveling, especially solo traveling, because it's really what I don't do a lot of holidays. Everything I'm very I don't know what's the word actually, like observing, and it's always for me everything is a source of growth and awareness and reflection and contemplation, which it's important to have, but it's too much. Sometimes I need a bit of fun. It's like, okay, life is to be enjoyed, which I keep saying from the heart. So it's really like, but being, going, which for me, oh, just one sec. Okay. Live, hey. One of my good friend that lives at the camp, he just came and gave me I'm not gonna show it on camera, but he gave me a present that is very meaningful, a necklace that has been in his family, and wow, I'm gonna try not to cry. Um, so as a symbol of me being part of their family, it's really nice. I've been struggling with, even though I love being alone, I've been struggling with loneliness a bit. It's hard to find your tribe in those times of change, when the more aware you are of what's going on in the world, the harder it is to be part of groups that are not aware of things. Because there's this, maybe I worry too much as well, and I'm working on, even though I've got a pretty good let go or detachment, I've got a pretty good detachment towards things and have a very strong faith that we are guided through life. And if we can let go of the mind and the conditioned ego and let our heart guide us and trust that God is here to guide us, And when I use the word God, I know it's going to trigger some people. It took me a few years to stop calling the universe source. Like I went from calling it that to going back to God. So call it whatever you want, okay? Yeah, I don't even know where I was going with that. It's yes, there's a few things that are happening in the world, like a lot of very dark things, which I made a point of not talking about on this podcast because it makes me depressed because it's very dark. And I'm here to, on the opposite, finding, okay, this is happening. So what do we do about it? How can we survive and then thrive? Nature thrives. Nature doesn't just survive. Nature thrives. We are part of nature. We are here to thrive. Okay, not just kind of um, go through our life and we can't handle like the working day, so we just go into alcohol or drugs or whatever addiction at the end of the day to cope with the unaligned, unsustainable way of living that we are forcing ourselves to go through, and the system does that as well. Um, yeah, so I felt lonely and I was craving connection. And I've got a good friend that lives in Bali, and I have been to Bali maybe more than 10 years ago, also for my birthday. I have been, yeah, in the last 10 years, I have been doing a lot of solo traveling on my birthday. That was a way for me to make sure I can do whatever I want on my birthday. I was struggling with setting boundaries. So I was sure that if I was by myself, I would have not have to please anybody, and I could do whatever I want. I could make plans and change them, and I didn't have to report to anybody. So because I didn't know how to do that with other people, and I really wanted to enjoy my birthday, I decided I was just be on my own, and I never had issue being on my own. And that's also how I actually it was a bit my the start of my solo traveling journey. I could see how I would be more in tune with my intuition and meet amazing people and discover new culture and opening my mind and opening my heart. So that's what I want to talk about today, the difference between holidays and traveling. So I was planning for holidays. I haven't had holidays for a long time because it's hard for me to disconnect. And I always look for something, like I know that God puts me on different part of the earth to do some work, and I made peace with that. That's why I move a lot, and that's okay. How it's uncomfortable, but it's I'm also very I enjoy some like part of that as well. And but I was looking for connection, and so one of my friends that lives in Bali contacted me a few months ago, and she's like, "Oh, are you planning on coming to Bali anytime soon?" And I had no intention of ever going back. I've been there. I had a really horrible birthday there. Like I didn't enjoy my day, like for yeah, people pleasing. And it's a lot of so Bali is the cheap holidays for Australian people. So for the people in Europe, it's like going to maybe Jerba in Tunisia, it's that's what it is, which is interesting because for the European people, Bali is like this honeymoon destination, and here for the Australian is like cheap holidays. Then there is still a beautiful thing. There's so many beautiful things in Bali, and if it attracts so many influencers and people working from their laptop and stuff like that, there is something there. And I was really curious to discover that, and also just catching up with my friend. And I was so excited actually. I was like, I don't even know where I'm going to Bali, but I'm going. So I booked my plane. I booked a couple of nights in a nice hotel just to land. And then as the date was approaching, I was still waiting on my visa. So I'm between visas at the moment. I'm waiting on a working visa. So my life is really the opposite of stable. And again, I learned to live with that. There's a lot of growth in in not being fully stable either. Now it's good. It'd be nice to have a bit of stability. It's coming at some point. Or I find my stability in different things. So I could have for the whole visa thing. It's like while I'm waiting for this visa, I cannot leave the country. I could have applied for something different, but I made a statement. I refuse to put more money to this, and it's really stressful for me, all the paperwork. And I didn't want it to jinx it. So I focused on getting this first visa granted because there's always a risk. There is a risk. I don't even know, which is funny where I'm sitting at the moment. Everything is kind of up in the air. So as the day was approaching, the visa wasn't coming. A few things happened with the visa that make me think that, oh, okay, it's things are moving. I should get it. And then my friend wasn't going to be as available as she thought she would be. So I was like, oh, what's the point? Like without her, I don't really want to go to Bali. Like there's no, I was starting to, and I think some fear were coming up because I haven't gotten on the plane for a year and a half now. And it's getting very stressful getting on planes. Just so many regulations that are not meant to be. So there's like, yeah, I think it was a fear plus I don't know. So all the excitement was dying down, and I was like, oh, maybe it's a fear. So if it's a fear, I don't follow it. That's how I live. It's if it's scary, it's usually where you should go. There is something behind it because every gift in life comes from overcoming your fear. So it was like all about making decisions, but I let it go. I was like, well, if I'm supposed to go to Bali, the visa is going to come and that's it. And if I'm not, it's not going to come. And then I was like maybe 2 weeks before, yeah, I think I was starting to detach from Bali. And a national park where I went last year, and I had quite a intense experience over there, started to calling me back. It was like, oh, and I was starting to get more excited about doing this. And I was like, oh, yeah, but that's fine. And then I was like, I can go at another time, but I'm actually pretty fully booked for the rest of the year. So I was like, I don't even know where I'm going to be able to go because I got to work on my day job. But I let myself feel with this. And at the same time, I'm also dealing with my place that I'm renting that is being put for sale. Like I'm living on a big property, and so there's a big house, and I'm on like a small detached little cottage. So there is a high chance that once it's sold, I'm gonna lose it. And I was getting so before my holidays, I was getting very tired, very it's like adrenal fatigue, I think, from work. I just needed, I just need to rest. I just need nature. I was getting scared. Oh, I was not scared. I was getting tired. I didn't want it to move again. Like the whole idea of moving again. Like I moved so many times. This place, I actually been there for a year and a half in there, which is the longest I've been in one spot in the last 10 years. Like before that, it was like 6 months in one place. Or sometimes I had to move. Like after 2 months, I have to move again. So I'm moving a lot, and it's very tiring, and it's interesting. Like yeah, it's tiring. Like nobody likes to move, but I'm moving a lot. And with that, as I say, comes a lot of growth, and I hope I'm making sense so far. So to make it short, Bali didn't happen. The visa didn't came. Bali didn't happen. And instead, so I was like, okay, I'm going to the Warrumbungle National Park in the middle of New South Wales. And then I got started to get so excited, and people around me were like, oh, but just go online and do this other thing you can do to be able to leave the country. It's like, no, I'm not going to force it. I'm not going to force it. At the moment, I actually don't want to go to Bali anymore. Which, Laura, if you're here to this, that was happening. That was me the week before. I was like, oh, I was very tired, and I didn't have the energy to get on the plane. Um, so I didn't go there. So the holidays where it was going to be relaxing, maybe going to some yoga, I'm not into massage and stuff, but I would have enjoyed there at the spa, just chilling by the pool, doing maybe a bit of hike. I let go of the idea of going surfing there because I think it's pretty big over there. I don't even know. But it was going to be really just chill. And from that, I went to full solo traveling, driving 9 hours inland, through torrential rain at the start, following my intuition, just trusting that I will be fine. Like it's and this national park, when I went last year, it was very intense. It was a very male dominated energy in this park. You could see that the First Nation people have used that land for walkabout or male initiation and stuff like that. And but there was also a lot of trauma in there. So it's been interesting, and going back this year, the energy has completely shifted. So it's good to see. And there was this hike that I was I wanted to do last year, and the energy there was like, no, you're not ready for this. And this year I actually did it twice. So I could see the evolution in me. And last year I went there for doing some healing on the land. And this year it was me receiving healing. So it was very interesting. And it brought so much faith and hope back into my life. Seeing this, it's also like I was supposed to go back after a few days, come back on the coast to drive another 7 or 8 hours to go on a surf trip, which I'm craving as well because I often go surfing by myself, which is the one thing that I was like, I do a lot of things on my own, but surfing, I just want to have a surf buddy. And then when I did that, I just stopped going surfing because nobody was going surfing with me. So I'm back into surfing by myself a bit. And so for once, it was this crew that was going surfing that I knew and I could go surfing with. And I was like, yeah, no, it's raining on the coast. I'm actually enjoying here. So all this to say that yeah, the difference between holidays and traveling is an initiation. It's I received so much downloads when I was alone in nature. The people that were camping kind of next to me, they told me about this forest that was just an hour away, and I ended up going there. Like when I travel solo, I it's an invitation to follow your intuition. Intuition is it's vital in this life. It's I know that education society doesn't train us to use it, doesn't invite us to do it, and it's even ridicule. It's like, oh, what is it? But intuition is, I always say intuition is always right. When it's wrong, it's because it wasn't intuition. And going back in nature, going into an environment that we don't know, like it's, if it's in a different country, different culture, if you can't, if you can't speak the language, it's a different, like for me, it was like the bush. Like I didn't grow up in Australia. Like I need to learn with, you can hear the birds, snakes and spiders and stuff like that. And even making fire. I made fire and I was so proud of myself. Just, and I arrived there at the camp and I forgot to bring cash, and I forgot to get some firewood, because it's national park. You can't go pick up wood. But they are like at the campsite, very simple campsite. There was like there was a spot where it was like a copper ring, so it protects that you can have fire in this. And when I arrived at the spot, I woke up, like I arrived at night, and the next morning I saw that the people that were there before, they actually left some firewood there, so I could make fire, and it actually lasted me for, I did 3 fire, I think, with that. So even that, it's just a reminder. It just shows, like when you go traveling, solo traveling, it's an invitation to see the synchronicity in life, to follow your intuition. That's what I have been invited for again, even though I live like that. So I was saying with intuition, it's vital. Is how did I know in 2021 not to get the, I don't know if it's what you can say, not to get what they wanted everybody to get. A big part of that is intuition. And then people, they want to give you, they want facts and stuff like that. But even when you give them facts, they're not open to it. They don't care. Even for this podcast, it was like, oh, I need to prepare, I need to get because at some point I think I'm going to talk more about even like scientific stuff like that. And so I need to do a lot of research. But I was thinking, it's like we should be able to see if we, I guess, decondition ourselves or are in tune with our intuition. When you see an information, we should know if it's true or not. Our body is capable of that, because I get it sometimes, and when I get doubt, it's because of the fear behind it. And going on those trips, solo trip, where you have to rely on inner guidance, are the best training ground. And that's what I have been kind of forcefully invited to for my holiday. Like I already booked 2 weeks. Like I already, like the thing with Bali is, so yes, I lost my plane ticket, and that's how you learn, I guess. I think anyway, it's, but because I booked Bali, I also like put down the time off from work. So it was like, people were like, oh, so what are you doing? Are you still going to work? I'm like, no, I'm still taking time off because I'm burned out. I need a break. I need a break, and I'm going to go to this national park. I haven't been, for a while, and it's calling me anyway, so I'm going to go. And also with that, it turns out to be the 2 weeks where the property where I live at was put on the market, so they had heaps of visits and inspection, which I hate. I hate having people coming into my place. The last few times they came, I had to just sanitize the whole thing and vacuum and just clear everything out. So they came like maybe 5, 7 times. So even that was a blessing, and it wasn't planned. I didn't even know when the property was going to be on the market. The landlord, they actually went on holiday as well at the same time as me. I don't know if they knew I was going to go overseas, so I don't know if they planned it accordingly. But it was perfect. It was perfect that I wasn't in my house. It was perfect weather while I was in the national park, and it was blue sky. It was pouring rain on the coast. I had my boss saying, be careful when you're going to cross the ranges. So you've got the coast of Australia, and then I don't know, 50K inland, or maybe a bit more, 100K. You've got this massive mountain that they call the divided ranges, divided ranges. Anyway, big mountain that goes like for thousands of kilometers. So that's why like the people are on the coast, because like if you go inland, you need to cross this mountain. And on my way to west, I was already a bit concerned because it's a very windy road, and sometimes they have landslides, and it's quite steep. So I was like, oh, I don't know how my car's gonna go. And actually, the next day after I crossed the range, the next day they had a landslide, and I think that was nearly 2 weeks ago, and the road hasn't reopened yet. So I just stay there, and I was actually looking like, how am I going to get back on the coast? I don't want to take this road, even it was closed anyway. So I went north, and it was actually again another journey, and it was beautiful, and now I know that I can go through that other way. So yeah, just that solo traveling, I really invite people to do that. Like you don't have to go, like in a foreign country or something, but just having a weekend away in your own country, go into a different city, just book an Airbnb or go into your car. Like I started, like it doesn't need, like I started in Australia. I remember when I was working, that was more than 10 years ago, I was working in Victoria, and I didn't even have a car, but I would rent a car for the weekend and go in country and check, and I would sleep in my car in a campsite. That's how I started, like because I had the safety. I was like, okay, there's and they shower, they facility, they showers, toilet, etc. But I'm in my car. I didn't have a tent, or I think, or maybe I had, but I prefer to be in the car. So me and sleeping in cars, it's been a long I've been doing it for a while, and slowly I just built up in that. Then I did it in Tasmania, and now I even ended up living in my car for a while in, when was that, 2 3 years ago, yeah. And oh, I think it's AI is putting a thumbs up. And even that, another thing, like these 2 weeks have been such an initiation. And also for me, I was like, oh, if I have to move again, I'm like, I'm sick of it. I'm just going to get back into my car. sleep in my car. I was like, I've got, because work has some facilities as well, like shower and stuff. I was like, I think it's possible. Let's try. I give myself a year and see what happens, because I'm sick of I'm starting to have like, it's easy. As soon as you settle down somewhere, you accumulate so much stuff, and I don't want to get rid of all my stuff. I'm sick of just packing up and unpacking, and the rental is just crazy, which it's another topic, but its prices are just ridiculous, and I don't want to comply with stupidity. So I'm like, well, I'm just going to be in my car. And those 2 weeks where I actually stayed in my car, like I stayed in a farm for 2 nights where I had a room. But other than that, I've been in my car for 2 weeks, which I think it's one of the longest I've done since I actually was living in my car 3 years ago. So it was a nice reintroduction, and it was easy. And yeah, so whatever happened, I feel way more peace now. That's the thing. At the end of those 2 weeks, I'm much more at peace. I'm much more open to whatever comes. I might not even get the visa. Like maybe in a month I have to pack up, and like I really in like I can get my visa, my work. It's just a work visa for 2 years, and keep on creating a routine that allows me to, as I was talking in the last episode about finding balance between those two worlds. What I'm creating, it's not a business, like my enterprise or whatever on the side. Um, or maybe I move country. I don't know. I was feeling a lot of grieving energy of feelings when I left the forest. I went into the Pilliga Forest, which is a massive forest. It's the size, they say it's the size of Belgium, but in Australia it's so big anyway. It was amazing over there. I was feeling sad, and so like, what that means? I don't know. I don't even need to give it a meaning, but I was feeling a lot of sadness and grief when I left. So I don't know. Maybe because I'm leaving the country. Who knows? We'll see. So yeah, I just wanted to share about that. Like holidays is like disconnecting and kind of stepping away from the routine. And sometimes we need that. We just need to rest. But traveling is an initiation, and it's an invitation to tap into your intuition and building up skills that you bring back into your day-to-day life. And in this era, in this time in age, I don't know how to say it. Time in age, what you say? I don't know. It's for the next few years, I think it's going to be very valuable. Like to rely on something that is within yourself, because everything around us is going to change. It is changing. We see it, like how the world was 5 6 years ago and how it is today. It's very different. Even in terms of freedom, like it's very different. So we need to find something that we can rely on and will always be with us. And what a better tool than having something within us which's always been there, and we just need to learn to slowly use that again and again. And I feel very grateful, which is interesting, but I feel very grateful that I missed my plane and I was able to go on this amazing adventure. I went through a lot, and it wasn't always easy, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it so much. I feel so grateful for it. And I'll put some more photos on Instagram for those of you that want to follow me there. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about today. Yeah, in the future, I might get those podcasts a bit more structure, but for now, I just want to share what's going on, how I navigate consciousness, how I'm trying not to get too much stuck in my head and experiencing what's going on, and to remain healthy, to remain a positive gift for this world, and see how we can all work together. Okay, you take care, guys. If you want to share a similar experience that happened to you, and how you received it when plan had changed, and but something even more beautiful present itself, how did you react? It's not the first time that I missed it's not the first time that I missed a plane. And last time I remember I was coming to Australia, I was in France, and my visa again hasn't come through, which this one was like an e-visa that should be instantaneous, and this one, like after more than 24 hours, still didn't come. And I remember the lady at the check-in, she was really nice. She delayed the closing of the check-in, and I was on the phone with the Australian embassy in England, I think. I don't even know how I got the number. And she's like, and so a guy in England was trying to get my visa approved for me to be able to jump on the plane. And even though they could have let me go in because I had to stop in China somewhere, and then like it's so long to go to Australia. So by the time I was like, well, just if let me go on that one, I'm actually going to China first before I go to Australia. Um, and by the time I get to China, for sure the visa is going to be granted. It's an e-visa, and but I'm like, okay, well, I was also already letting it go, and that was Sam. That was 11 years ago, I think. So this woman, like, she called someone on the plane saying, I'm going to have a late checking. So, know that a bag is coming late. Like I was like, thank you. So like, thanks for even, doing this. And at some point she's like, sorry, I really can't delay any longer. I was like, but that's what it is. And I'm already very grateful that you kind of delayed everything for 20 minutes. And as soon as she closed the metal curtain, I don't know how you call it, and saying, okay, that's it. Checking closed. Within 30 seconds, I got my visa. And I was like, well, I wasn't supposed to get on that plane. And I ended up staying in Paris for an extra few days. And that's actually when I had one of the best time with my best friend, which now passed away. So that's it was a gift itself again. And this memory helped me this time to actually take it as well. I'm losing a plane, I'm losing money. Why am I taking it so well? Well, I had the experience before, and I know that it was for the greater good. So yeah, if you have any stories, and I'm happy to hear them, because it just reminds us that this is life. Life is supporting us, life is guiding us. We just have to listen and feel, and the whole work is figured out if it's coming from a good place, if it's a genuine benevolent guidance. Okay, and we learn. Okay, I'm going to let you hear. That was a long one, I think. But yeah, have a beautiful day, week, weekend, whenever you listen to this. And if you enjoyed it, let me know. And I see you when I see you. Bye for now.